Today, we've got Captain Brian Yonkin back on the Keep the Promise podcast. And this one is a masterclass in how a good firefighter becomes a better leader without turning into a robot or an ego monster. We start with something small that turns out to be huge. Brian talks about dropping the belief that he has to let people talk over him, and how he's been putting himself in uncomfortable situations on purpose just to get better at speaking up and having hard conversations. And from there, we slide right into what a lot of us actually struggle with: imposter thoughts, command nerves, and what it looks like to recognize the warning signs before you spiral. Then we get into the stuff you're going to want to replay. Brian breaks down the systems he uses for the fireground, for leadership, and for personal accountability, because he's not doing New Year, New Me. Instead, he's doing quarterly goals, honest reflection, and a lot of reps. And the highlight of the episode, Brian tells the story of showing up to a working fire and realizing there's a second fire down the street. 2 incidents, 1 crew, split-second decisions, and what trust in your people actually looks like when it matters. We close with his non-negotiables for being a solid firefighter in 2026. Gym consistency, learning to actually relax, and building a life outside the job. Plus some real talk about raising kids and owning your mistakes. If you want practical leadership tools, mindset work that isn't corny, and stories that hit home, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Keep the Promise podcast, where we help build resilient and well-rounded firefighters.
This is why I do podcasts, just audio-wise and not video, because that's the shit that happens. Okay, we're back. So we're talking about a belief that you dropped in the recent past, which was the belief that you had to let others walk over you and talk over you. And now you're like, nah, fuck it. Either they figure it out or I tell them. Plain and simple.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where you want to come back at, but yeah, just like put myself in weird situations to make myself speak up more to
weird situations.
So I play like a war game, like a tabletop war game, and then sometimes the rules don't add up, and because your interpretation of the rule and my interpretation of the rule might be different. So if you don't speak up, you're going to obviously lose that little interaction. So and it's typically who I'm playing against is not necessarily the type A personalities that I'm used to at the firehouse. So it's much easier to get practice talking to those people. Like, hey, I don't think that's right.
Steamrolling them. You get back to the firehouse. You're like, man, I picked on a bunch of nerds. It is over for you, motherfuckers.
No, I don't. Typically, I pick on some of the guys that I know. I'm just like, because they just don't know how to handle it. And it's that shit. Because I can't do that at work anymore because I'm a boss. So I got to get that.
Right.
I got to get that out someplace. So I take it on all my friends at the nerd show. So yeah, that's fun. But you're right. I do pick on them. But I don't. Well, in those situations, I'm like, I don't think that's right. I don't believe you. Or can you show me that? It forces you to like step up and talk about it. So that makes easier conversations at work easier to like bring up or whatever, or talk. Or just being like, hey, I need to talk to you, and take somebody in your office and have a chat with them. Hey, tell me what happened with this. Let them have their side of the story so that they can feel like they're heard or whatever. And then I can ask questions about it. And then I'll be like, hey, yeah, we're not doing it anymore. This is why. And they go, okay, that makes sense. Or if I have to talk to other officers on other shifts, I've had to do that once or twice. I go, hey, just so you know, we're getting this sort of thing happening. Tell me about your side of it. One, if I can, I know these guys well enough, or I've done it enough. I can read people pretty well. My dad taught me how to do that. So it's like, is he looking?
Or subconsciously.
He taught me subconsciously. He taught me how to do it. Hey, if this person is doing this, they're lying to you. Like if they look over to the left, or down to the left.
Is that true?
It is true.
Is that scientifically true?
100% scientifically true. And they'll do other stuff too. Or if they're looking up.
Because you've been looking down to the left the entire time.
Yeah. This is like I'm thinking about stuff. It's online. This is me remembering. If I'm looking up to the right, if I'm looking up to the left, I'm thinking about something creative. This is me. Anywhere to the left is you're using your creative side of your brain. Anywhere to your right, you're using your logical side of your brain. And if it's down to the right, you're thinking of feelings, or it's connected to feelings. Or if you're looking up to the right, you're thinking of things that you already know to be true. And then people hide their face when they talk. They're like, because they won't want you to see. If they're lying, they do like, they put their hands in front of their mouth or some sort of inside of their face, or they'll do something like this. They'll put their shirt in front of their face, whatever. It's like little stuff. Like, this is a closed off, but this this, I don't want to talk to you if I'm crossing my arms. This also means that I'm thinking very deeply. So it really just depends on the conversation. Stuff like that. Body language, I can see their tone of voice. Are they stuttering? I love having personal conversations with other people when I'm having conflict that I'm initiating, right? Because if they're initiating, you kind of have to put up the, hey, I'm on your side kind of thing. Put your hands up like, hey, whoa, don't hit me. Like I'm having my hands up, I'm defending myself thing. I'm on your team. You know what I mean? They're like, and that kind of diffuses them or whatever. So, but if I'm going to have a conversation with one of the other officers in my firehouse, I like to ask them questions. I like to see how they react to that. So I know if they're lying to me and if they're telling me the truth. And we can work together much better if they're telling me the truth. Or I have to figure out other ways around it if they're lying to me. And just knowing how to talk to other people. I've done a lot of psychology tests. I think there are behavioral tests or whatever. We may have talked about this before. I can't remember, but there are a certain like behavioral tests or personality tests you can take to know what you are. And then that kind of helps you communicate with other people more effectively. Like I am very direct when I communicate. Most people don't like that, right? So I have to learn if they don't like it, and then I have to learn how to communicate with them more effectively. Or, right, I could just be the guy and be like, well, you have to deal with me. So where in some certain circumstances that is okay, some of those circumstances are not. Learning to judge between the two is very difficult and it takes experience. But I had to learn how to communicate like that because I don't interrupt people. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I know how to do it because I lived with my brother and my father for so long. I don't like to do it. I will if I have to. It takes a lot of energy. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it feels... Oh, we went down a bunch of different rabbit holes, but yes. Okay, good. We'll pick on your brother later.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the imposter syndrome conversation that we had.
Yep.
Do you still get those thoughts, or are you better at recognizing those and just kind of pushing them down before they even sprout?
Yeah, I think that's normal. I found that it's everybody I talk to, either like you have those or suppress them really easily. You go, yeah, you fake it till you make it. That's why there's a saying called that. Especially if you don't have any training for any of these situations, right? You get thrown into this crazy situation where you're in charge of people. All of a sudden, you don't know what to do. You could have some training and you could have the weirdest situation happen and you have to figure it out, right? You're not going to know what to do, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it and the less of an imposter you feel, I suppose. But yeah, I still get those every once in a while, but I kind of just shove them away. I was talking to my wife about it earlier and she kind of joked and I was like, I joked with her back. I was like, yeah, you ever hear of a thing called anxiety? That's an imposter syndrome where your heart starts to race and you think that something bad is going to happen. Just stuff it away until later.
I thought that was an everyday thing.
What's that?
It's not imposter syndrome. That's baseline.
Baseline, yeah. I've had too much coffee today and it's making it work.
My favorite, the people that are meaning their best. And they're like, have you tried just not being anxious? And you're like, no, it didn't occur to me to stop trying to be anxious.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. What a great idea.
Oh, duh. Is there like an early warning sign when you start feeling that way that hey, let me crush this thought before it gets out of control? In an ideal world, it'd be awesome if we had that flashing light that says, you're about to feel like an imposter.
Yeah.
And you can be like, cool.
I found out that the shifts before I was going to be battalion chief, like I knew I was going to be, but in the car running command, like I didn't sleep good. Not just because I think because I want to do well. I don't want to like do something stupid or say something stupid or, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily because I think I'm going to not do well at it or whatever. It just, I have high expectations for myself and I don't want to be quote unquote a failure. So not sleeping well, you know what I mean? Like is definitely an anxiety thing for me that I've learned is just a me thing. It could be for other people too, but that's about it. That's the only thing I'm aware of. I'm sure there's other signs of it, but I think that's it.
So when you don't get enough sleep the night before, you're just kind of primed like, okay, let's be cognizant of who I am, what I'm capable of, and not let these thoughts get out of control.
Exactly. And then what can I do to make sure that I'm better prepared? So signed up for a command class through Leadership Under Fire up here in
solid.
It's like a retreat or whatever. I think the department's going to pay for me to go, so that's going to be good. Just like doing stuff like that should help. Or watching videos and running little scenarios or whatever. Just little things. What else am I supposed to do? I got to run calls, and then I don't do that very often when I'm in the car. So
yeah, Leadership Under Fire is solid.
Yes.
I got lucky enough to go to one of their conferences in I think it was 2019, and being there, looking around, like, these people are incredible.
Yeah.
Like the conversations, the thoughts that they made you think, you're like, fuck, this is bad.
Yeah, it's next level cognitive training, I think. Their courses should be like college courses. That's how good they are, I think. So
With the same, like, tuition cost for books and everything.
But most of the stuff they have you do is like free online. So like the courses. So it's like, I don't know what they're going to plan on doing. It would be cool, but we'll see.
Speaking of books, the cookbook.
Oh, yeah.
You talked about how, you got a copy of it?
A place. It's on the shelf. Yeah, there it is.
Has your view on that book changed as the time has gone on? Because when we talked about it, you viewed it as more than a recipe book. It was sort of like an essential firehouse book in terms of leading people, in terms of how to approach interpersonal relationship in the firehouse, in terms of the mindset. Do you still feel that way about it?
Yeah, I do. I don't think that'll ever change. I think the only thing that I have changed my opinion on is probably the writing inside of it. It could be a little bit tighter. And my wife, who just went through some college courses on writing, has edited it for me. So it should be better the next time someone buys it. So.
Oh, good. Second edition.
Not necessarily second edition. It's just edited. So I guess that's second edition. Is that what that's called?
I think it's whatever you...
That's true. Fair.
Okay, but now that you're the boss, are you still getting in there in the kitchen?
When they ask me to cook, I cook. We have a lot of good cooks in our firehouse. They don't necessarily need me to cook all the time. So when they ask me to, I do.
What was the last thing you cooked when they asked you?
They always ask me to make the London boil with the blue cheese sauce. That's like the highly requested meal that I make. They just love it. It's delicious, so I'm okay with making it, and it's relatively cheap. So
that's what you need. Deep,
cheap.
That's delicious and can feed everyone.
Yes. Man, it only takes 45 minutes to make, so it's real good.
Yeah, damn, that's solid. Still talk about leadership and still talk about the kitchen, because you compare a kitchen system, I guess we can call it, to a firehouse chain of command, albeit a lot more unofficial. What's at least one lesson from the kitchen that can translate to the fire service, especially for officers, that some may miss?
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about this there earlier, and I think I wrote an article about it in Firemanship Days, but it's your fault. Everything in the firehouse is your fault. You are in charge. If things go well, it's your fault. If things go bad, it's your fault, right? You got to be able to take responsibility for whatever happened. And if you're okay with some bullshit happening, it says a little more about your leadership skills or leadership characteristics than anything else.
And again, that's another thing that translates through so many different domains, if you will, because it's true in the kitchen, it's true in the fire service, and that's going back to business. One of those business lessons that you learn quickly is that wherever you point the finger, whatever you blame is what has power. So if you want to do better in life, you just have to be like, everything is my fault. It is my responsibility. I can't sit here and be like, oh, this didn't go well. Somebody sabotaged it or people hate me. I didn't do something and that's why it didn't pan out. I missed something and that's why it didn't work. It's interesting. It's interesting how many of life's lessons we can just bring down from so many unrelated worlds and they're all the same. Real quick before we jump back in. Firefighters don't leave each other behind. We look out for our own. Right now, there's a firefighter out there, maybe a rookie, maybe a seasoned veteran, who needs this podcast. They need the lessons, the mindset, and the training tips. But they'll never get them unless you help them. Here's how you can help right now. On Apple Podcasts, tap the 5 stars, then scroll down and write just a few words about what the show has done for you. On Spotify, tap the 3 dots, select Rate Show, and drop your rating. It takes less than 60 seconds, it costs you nothing, and it helps one more firefighter get better, stronger, and more prepared. We look out for each other. This is one small way that you can pay it forward. All right, back to the show.
Everything's connected. Humans think the same way regardless of what profession you work in or where you live, or we're all primitively the same, right? We all have the same needs and wants. The hierarchy of there's a psychological hierarchy, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yes, thank you. Like all those things. If those basic things aren't safety, food, like security, the second step never goes up. You never make it to the second step. And if you want to make to the highest step of that hierarchy of needs, like it's never going to happen. So everybody is wired that way. It's in lots of textbooks for a reason. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. It's kind of busted.
That's fine. Let's keep on moving. Let's talk about fires. Let's talk about tough fires or extrications or whatever you have. Any good ones recently?
It wasn't. I wouldn't say necessarily it was real good, but we had a fire that occurred a couple blocks from our firehouse. It's during the day. I think it was like 1 o'clock or noon. As we're going there, you could see that it was on fire. Right, it was a header or a column, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it's burning. So we turn the corner, and you could see the fire in the first floor of a 3-story single wood frame. We get out. I walk around the tower ladder because we were in the tower ladder that day because the ladder truck was out of service. And then I met with one of my other guys. I go, hey, cops say there's another fire down the street. And I looked down the street, half a block down, and across the street, you could see that there was a fire in another building. And the cop was trying to mule kick the door. So I was like, first I yelled at him. I was like, hey, don't do that. Down the street, stop, or whatever it was. And then I had to quickly assess the situation at the current fire and then be like, can I strip 1 or 2 dudes from this one to go to that one? Because obviously this is a single. The other one was in the middle of a row. A row is much more harder to get a handle of. The single, if it gets away from us, is just staying there, right? Although I didn't think that was going to happen. It would have just been, there's a lot more opportunity for exposures and issues on the other fire than there is at this one. Saw the guys working on getting the door open. And I was 4 in the truck and 4 in the engine that day. So I was like, I told one of the senior dudes on the truck with me, I was like, hey, you got this one. I'm taking one of the other guys and we're going to the other one. He's like, all right. So I got the other one and he didn't have his helmet on. The whole conversation was like, hey, where's your helmet? And he's like, oh, shit. And then I was like, you're coming with me to go pull another line to the one down the street. And he's like, oh, okay. So he gets his helmet and he pulls the line. And then Master I think gets there. He takes over the command or whatever. And we basically put 2 fires out at the same time. One was a room and contents fire, and the other one was like just a contents fire. It was like some drapes and some trash on the floor for the second one, but the other one was like a mattress in the ring. But effectively, we put them both out at the same time. And I noticed afterwards, walking around to both of the scenes because it was relatively close, because it was like half a block away from each other. I was like still trying to figure out what had happened, and I was like, just the whole processing in my brain, like we did this, we did that, everything's fine. And I was just like, that was insane. Like, I didn't think that was ever going to happen. Like, I've been to a fire, gotten back to the firehouse, or left the fire to go to a different firehouse, but never, or gone to another fire, but never been at 2 fires at once. And I was like, my brain just couldn't wrap my head around it. And when I got home later that day, I was exhausted because my brain was just like going miles a minute trying to process everything. And I was like, wow, that was interesting. It's probably good that happened now instead of when I was younger. So, but going through my questions, like I had noticed when I yelled at the senior guy at the truck, like I yelled at him, and I don't typically yell. Like I heard my voice crackle because that meant I was stressed out. And then I was like, I took a breath and I was like, hey, we're doing this. You do this. We're doing this. He's like, okay. So I recognized that had I continued to yell at him, he probably would have been stressed out and wouldn't have been able to like handle that one himself. He did fine. He was like, he told me he tried to talk on the radio and he's not used to doing it because he was usually in the roof. But, and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Like that's never going to happen again for one, hopefully. And I think he did fine. He was an officer at a different fire department and then came to our fire department. So I knew he could do it. It wasn't even a question. I was just like, you got this. I'm going over here. You know what I mean? He just was out of practice, but it wasn't anything that we couldn't handle. And it was like, we put both the fires out before any other fire trucks from the other fire stations came. So we also kind of like, we're pretty proud of ourselves about it. But it was just crazy. There was a dude, like the cops caught the guy that set the fires like out the back, and like just the whole situation was messed up. He set both of these fires and then like got caught. It was intense. And then we went to a fire like the couple of days later in the same block or the same area. His girlfriend set a fire. So it was just like, yeah,
they're meant to be,
I guess. But that one was intense too. But yeah, it was just like the mental load of the stress, which was not manageable at the time. It was just like, holy shit, that just happened. You know what I mean? And had I not, I think, prepared for evolving situations with doing some of the things that I do outside of work, I think it would have been much, much harder. I probably would have been flipped out. Probably would have been like, I'm not worried about that one or whatever. But the quicker you can minimize those issues, right, the faster things get better for everybody. So I had a competent engine guy, I had a competent truck guy on the first one, and I had a relatively competent dude coming with me. You know what I mean? He's got like he's got 3 years or so. So, and he's put out some fire, so I know he could do it. So it's just, he didn't have a helmet on. So I was like, okay, it's his head in the game today or whatever. But he was just excited we were going to fire, I think. But, people make mistakes. And I yelled, so it's like I made a mistake too. So nobody's perfect. You know what I mean?
Do you ever watch the show Generation Kill?
No.
There's one episode where they're tasked with taking an airfield, and they're like, dude, we're going to get shredded. Like, it's just a bunch of dudes in Humvees. This is going to be horrendous. And they rush it. Nothing happens. But they're looking around like, we just took a whole fucking airfield. Mm-hmm. And one of the dudes looks around, and he's like, calm, cool, and he's like, gentlemen, that was pretty fucking nice. So I can only imagine that's what you guys were feeling at the time.
For 100%. That's definitely what it felt like.
What sort of trust in your people do you have to make that quick split-second decision, say this person goes here, this one goes there, as you're facing two incidents at the same time where you're splitting your crew?
Yeah.
Or is that any different from when you as a truck company are splitting into inside and outside teams?
I think that's a good question. I don't know how to phrase that in a way that makes sense. I've worked with these guys long enough that I know what they're going to do, and I don't have to worry about it. It would probably be different if they would make silly mistakes a lot. You know what I mean? But they're super confident. They stretch hose good, or they stretch hose well, excuse me. They cut holes in roofs where they're supposed to be. They force doors like they're supposed to. They search buildings like they're supposed to. They advance hose like they're supposed to. Their 100% might not be my 100%, but they do what needs to be done. So you can't really ask for much more as a boss. And we have a good time. We hang out sometimes after work, which is good. We joke with each other. We don't try to solve the fire department's issues all the time. We just kind of have a good time, and it's great. So I think when you personalize relationships, or you make relationships the priority, I think you can be like, yeah, this dude's going to do what I ask him to do. Or he knows that he's not going to say no because he knows that I have his back in case he messes up or whatever. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. People know that I'm going to take care of them if they might do something wrong. There's a lot to this question that I haven't really thought about. Yeah, that's a good point.
Let me add some more to it. So you're standing there, you realize what you have in front of you. Do you look back at the decision and go, holy shit, I made it super quickly? Or do you feel like it took you a while? Because I think we've both been in those situations that you look back and you're like, I don't even know why I decided to go that way. It was just like that muscle memory or that instinct or training kicked in, and I just said or did what I had to do, and it happened, and it worked out well. Versus those times that you're like, fuck, man, I hesitated, and I sat, and I thought too much. Which path did you take?
I think I don't typically make decisions on the fire ground. I've noticed this with myself. I don't typically make them. I don't hem and haw about a decision. I go, okay, this is what we're doing. And it's more, what I found is it's more instinct than anything, be it training, reading books, listening to other people, listening to other fires, knowing what I have in front of me versus what I might not know about, where I'm at currently, where things are at, how dudes are during the day, all those things. Because those are all decisions that those are all factors that can make decisions very easily or very difficult. If you are, say, dug into the fire service, but if you are just you're present at work and you are a fireman at work, things should be easy for you, right? And if you are not a fireman at work, things will be difficult for you if you make them. It's interesting because it's you see dudes that are just I don't know how they got to that point, or I don't know why they made that decision, but I wasn't there, so whatever. But I do know that when I'm at work, when I'm going to fires, and I have been to fires, I look at them and I go, what did I learn from that? And I listen to other people's perspective at the same fire, because 5 people can go to the same fire and you can learn 5 different lessons from them. So asking questions definitely helps. To other people's fires, yes. I've been to a fire that I did not go to because I talked to a guy and asked them the specific questions that I have. You know what I mean? Hey, what'd you have when you get there? What'd you do? Why'd you do that? What happened when you did that? Oh, okay, cool. And then you can see where they're at and you can learn some stuff. So or just doing little game day pictures or for drills or whatever helps a lot. Like, hey, we got this fire. What are you guys doing? I can see where people are at, and I gotta go, oh, okay, that's a problem, or oh no, we're good. And you can adjust from those certain things. That makes those quick decisions. Like, I know that guy who was an officer for at least a couple of years at a different department, and he's been around. He has like 20, 30 years total in the fire service. He might be 7 years at our job, or 8, I forget what it is, but like, he has so much more experience than me. I don't have to worry about what his decision is going to be. You know what I mean? And then knowing all that stuff, because I've talked to him and he offers that information freely and he's very open to conversations, I don't have to worry. You know what I mean? Like, I just go, yep, we're good. I'm making that decision. I'm not going to worry about it. What happens when I walk away? What happens? He's going to handle it. Because I told him to handle it, right? Okay. And if he doesn't, then we'll have a conversation afterward. But that's it. That's all I got.
I dig it. Pretty fucking gangster, bro.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Obviously, we're recording this at the beginning of, and this is around the season or the era, if you will, that people are sticking to or quitting on their resolutions. Are you one of those people? Are you a resolutionist? New year, new Brian? Or do you think it's...
I think it's corny. For me, it's corny, right? For other people, I get it. It might work for them, but you got to have some sort of catharsis. You got to have some sort of like emotional tie to a decision, or you're just gonna keep doing the same bullshit. And yes, I set goals, but I don't go January 1st, I'm doing this thing, right? I have a yearly goal, quarterly goal, and like I break it down, right? We talked about systems before, like I've been pretty successful. We're doing that before. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. But what I have been when I was like younger, I think everybody goes through that stage. And if it works for them, great. It doesn't work for me.
So you have not so much a cycle tied to the calendar.
Correct.
You mostly say, here's my goal, starting whenever it starts, and then I'm going to evaluate in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I don't tie it to the year. Like, obviously, the end of the year is a good time to reflect, right? If you go through the seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, right? If you look at that as like, I wouldn't say a religious thing, but like beginning and then like holistically, like beginning and then like ramping up and then it kind of like dies down and then you kind of go dormant for a little bit, right? You got to take a little bit of rest. If you look at that as like a thing, it's a circle, you know, which part of the circle you're at. You could start it in summer when you have all this fucking energy, right? Or April, because that's when the sun comes back out. New beginnings, right? Easter, the bunnies coming out, you know, the whole like pagan thing around that, you know, new beginnings. All of the religious stuff is based off of that stuff. I'm not going to have a religious conversation, but you can look at it like that. But yeah, I like to tie it. I like to have like the introspective conversation with myself at the end of the year and be like, okay, did I do all those things that I was going to do? No, I did not. Okay, why not? Where am I at right now with all those things? Oh, you're about 30% of what you said you were going to do. Okay. Does that make you a liar? Yes, it does. Okay, what happened? Oh, well, I was fucking depressed and I didn't know about it until I started this thing. Now I got my shit together. You should have no problem doing it this year. So, but you got to have, like I said, like with the questions, with the incident, like you got to have some sort of introspective accountability for yourself. If you're not a resolutionist, whatever it's called, which I do. So I have all that stuff. I have systems in place to help me with those sort of things. Surprise, surprise.
Nah, dude, I love to, dude. I geek out on this shit. I started doing these. A clarity day is what some of the people in the circles I run with call it, and it's basically same thing that you mentioned seasonally, because winter is that sort of time where everything kind of slows down, and you get time to be introspective and be with yourself. And seasonally, it's the same thing that you talked about. What were my goals? Did I accomplish them? What are the ones for the next year? How am I going to accomplish them? If I didn't accomplish them, why not? If I did, why? And then you start splitting your life into, same thing Ben Franklin talks about, like health, wealth, relationships, learning, wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And it's cool because, at least for me, the systems keep me going in a sense of I can look back at what I've done. I suck at giving myself credit for things. Yeah. That's that imposter syndrome and that inability to celebrate my own successes. So it's really difficult for me to be like, go me, TJ, you did a fantastic job. Because even if I do, I'm going to look at it and be like, why wasn't I better? It's like when you get an A, like, why wasn't it an A+? And that's been my entire life. So it's important to take stock and say, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm not where I'm going to be and I'm always going to feel this way, but at least I have this list of accomplishments that I can look back and be like, fuck yeah, that was good.
Yeah, like you were telling me in the beginning. Oh, you gotta take care of yourself. Appreciate your
Give
yourself
praise, yeah.
some credit or whatever. It's like, oh, trust me, I do. But you got to be honest with yourself and then be like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I also have a list of stuff that I've accomplished. Yeah, like I wrote a book, got all this stuff on the wall and stuff like that. Yeah, there's stuff all over this room that remind me of like the things that I've done. So I got 4 things that move around the house that I am definitely affected by, who talk back to me.
You're like, listen here, my little accomplishments. Stop talking back.
That's my legacy, right? Those 4, if you look at it, their kids are your legacy. They are the ones that are going to remember you the most, right? They're your dad. You're their dad. So like you're their logical side of their brain, basically. Your mother is your emotional side of their brain. So if those two aren't connected in the house, or if they clash at all, like they're going to have turmoil for the rest of their life. So if I'm just like, and you got to have conversations with your partner and the kids and be like, hey, when they have, like, for instance, they have a sports game or my girls wrestle, the one boy played basketball. I don't think I'm that good. I'm like, you're just learning. It's okay. This is your second year. You're still learning. You took a break from last year. This is your second game. Don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself some credit, right? Give yourself some grace. The same conversations you have with yourself, you have with your kids. And then that's their voice, right? When they're beating themselves up for the rest of their life. Or you could be the guy that's like, yeah, you really suck. You really need to get shit together. You know what I mean? What good is that going to do to them? Or, the young dudes in the firehouse. Hey, like you're still learning that we're got to work on it, obviously. Or, yeah, we really messed up. Please don't do that again or whatever. You know what I mean? Having 4 different personalities as children, you know what I mean? They each learn this differently. My daughter, who wrestles, is very aggressive. And the only time in the year where she kind of chills out is when she's beating up on other kids. So like she's just in a very good mood all the time. Like, I think she just likes fighting, and she picks on her sister all the time. She picks on the two boys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not surprised. She's got my genetic code in her. You know what I mean? So I also like to pick fights. So it's fun. I'm not surprised, but I also am aware of like when it is to do those things correctly, and I have to teach her that. And if you don't voice it, they never hear it, and it's never their like inner voice, right? Other people call it other stuff, right? But it's in your inner voice. It's your inner, how you talk to yourself. And that's why a lot of people go to therapy, because they were talked to not very nice when they were kids. So it is what it is at that point. So I don't like to do that to my children. And if I do, I go, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up. You know what I mean?
And that's huge, because kids appreciate that. Kids can see that and understand that you are fallible too, but the clout, if you will, the sort of capital that you get on an emotional and relationship level from admitting that you as the adult maybe didn't handle it so well, I think it's highly appreciated. Just kind of like when you go to a new person in the firehouse, you're like, my bad.
Yeah.
Anybody with more time than them that says that sort of stuff, they're like, holy fuck.
But who is this guy? Yeah, I like to admit
who is this guy?
I like to admit when I'm wrong at the firehouse, and I think that confuses a lot of guys because a lot of the other officers don't do that. But I'm different, so whatever.
We were looking at the future. We're looking at resolutions and systems and all that stuff. Let's read to the younger you, to rookie Brian, walking into the firehouse for the first time. 1 sentence advice that you could give him. What would it be?
Yeah, so I would probably say that, hey, don't put so much stuff on the internet. That shit's not important. Be present in the firehouse. Don't try to like light fires that don't need to be lit. But I did it.
For the record, it was not arson. It was just hypothetical
fires. Yes, good. Yes. For the record,
metaphorical.
And not an arsonist. I put fires out. I don't put them.
I don't want the cops knocking down your door.
Yeah, go ahead. Look around. I don't care.
Okay, and when it comes to talking to other people, you're mentoring firefighters in 2026. And there's 3 things that you can tell them, aside from don't put shit on the internet, be present. What 3 non-negotiables would make somebody a good firefighter in 2026? Given the state of the fire service, given the state of the world, given everything that's going on.
Non-negotiable. I would say get in the gym or stay consistent with the gym, right? Because getting in the gym is one day, right? Stay consistent with the gym, because if you can take care of your body, it makes your fire service longevity much easier. I know lots of older dudes that have like aching injuries that they probably could have avoided Had they been a little stronger or a little bit more nimble?
Hold that thought, because Brian is dead on. Being fit for service is definitely a non-negotiable and a career longevity thing. If you want a training program built for firefighters with strength, conditioning, and durability that actually matches the job, check out Fit for Service at keepthepromisefire.com.
I also tell guys to like, don't take the fire service too seriously. It takes more than it gives. You have to take care of yourself. You have to be able to relax. You have to relax sometime when you're not here, because your body will thank you, your brain will thank you, and your family will thank you. If you are constant go, you're gonna get burned out. There's a term, I don't know it specifically, but like, it's like in our jobs, at least, it's like year 10 where guys stop sleeping very well at the firehouse and at home, and their body's just like in survival mode, basically, and they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to calm their body down. And I always warn them. I warn kids. Well, I call them kids, but warn guys because they're younger than me. But you got to learn to relax, calm down, sit down at the firehouse. Well, I feel like I'm not doing anything productive. Like, well, you need to get over yourself. You need to sit down and relax, because if you continue to do that forever, you're going to go crazy. You're going to stress yourself out. You say you want to be a good dad, right? Yeah, it's not going to make you a good dad in 10 years. Trust me. Was that 2? Was that 2?
Yep, we're up to 2.
Get a hobby outside of work. Nothing fire related. Make friends outside of work, because it just allows you to turn your brain off to it. And if they want to hear stories about it, you're more than welcome to talk about it. But you don't have to talk with those people. You can't step away from the firehouse if you're always at the firehouse with your friends and with the people you're around. I love my guys at the firehouse, and I love hanging out with them at work. Outside of work, I don't know if I could do it all the time. I just couldn't. I don't like talking about work all the time outside of work. I don't, because I need to, protect my peace or whatever, or protect my space in my head. Whereas like, it does me no good if I'm frustrated about the stuff I can't control at work. And I get it. People need to bitch and they need to vent and whatever, but like, I just can't do it all the time. I can turn my brain off to the stuff that I'm not controlling, because it's easy, because I'm like, I have no control over that. Don't worry about it. Yeah, make friends outside of firehouse that have nothing to do with work.
That's something I wish I had listened to when I was much younger. For sure. The cooler Yonkin brother, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. As always, I love having you here. We bounce all over the place, and I always learn something new, legitimately. Like, one of the reasons I do this is because I get to hang out with cool people and learn new stuff, and you keep on delivering. So I appreciate you coming back to the podcast.
It's always good to see you. I like your stories too. It's interesting because watching you evolve with your podcasting, you always kind of like tie what I'm talking about with some other story, which I think which ingrains it deeper into the listeners' heads. It helps tie it in, a little bit of catharsis, if that makes sense. But you do a good job. It's always fun to have conversations with you. I appreciate it.